I'd like to welcome everybody to the special council meeting today to consider the application before us. In declaring the meeting open, I wish to draw your attention to the disclaimer notice contained within the agenda document and advise members that members of the public that any decisions made at the meeting today can be revoked pursuant to the Local Government Act 1995. Therefore, members of the public should not rely on any decisions until formal notification in writing by council has been received. Any plans or documents in the agenda and minutes may be subject to copyright. The express permission of the copyright owner must be obtained before copying any copyright material. Can I call upon a councillor, please, to consider the standing orders?
I, Councillor Mark de Peruzzo, would like to suspend clause 8.5.1 from the standing orders.
Seconded, Councillor Snide.
And just for the audience, just to explain what that's about, we have to suspend that clause of the standing orders to allow a recording to be done during this meeting. Thank you.
All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay, with regard to announcement of visitors, I did recently take a phone call from the Honourable Paul Brown, MLC, to advise that he is coming to today's meeting, but he is running a little late, so he'll be entering the meeting during the process. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest, Mr. Hooper? There are none. In attendance, we have staff members, Mr. Graham Lansky, Manager for Works and Engineering, Mrs. Jackie German, Manager Planning, Mrs. Gail Mazook, Projects Officer, and Mr. Ray Hooper, CEO. And Helen Darcy Walker, I think it's administrative support person. Very important person. Okay. In your agendas, you'll see item 2.4 with the leave of absence previously approved for Councillor David Wallace. I'd like to note for the record that Mr. Wallace has returned early from holidays to participate in today's meeting. So thank you, Councillor Wallace. The number of people in the gallery is 64. So moving to public question time, we have no questions from previous meetings to regard, so we will move straight into public question time. Public question time is provided under the provisions of section 5.24 of the Local Government Act and the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996. Stand up. To provide public question time is to provide equal opportunity for people to ask questions. To a limit of 2 questions per person per time will be applied. If there is time available during public question time, people may be given the opportunity to ask a further 2 questions at a time. Questions submitted in writing prior to the meeting will be dealt with initially. Questions from the floor will be taken in the order recorded in a register. Statements, opinions and attachments will not be recorded in the minutes. Questions requiring research will be taken on notice and a response will be prepared in a reasonable time frame. The original questions and responses will be included in the agenda and minutes of the next ordinary council meeting. Questions may be deemed inappropriate because they contain defamatory remarks or offensive language. They question the competency of elected members of staff. They relate to the personal affairs of elected members of staff. They relate to legal processes and confidential matters, or they may be responded to previously, and these will not be accepted or recorded in the minutes. The meeting may only record a summary of the questions asked and the responses given. Where possible, questions asked should be submitted in writing at the completion of question time or at the end of the meeting. At special council meetings, questions must relate to items on the agenda. Shire of York guidelines for public question time are included on the meeting agenda, and I refer you to them. We have only one question? Oh, yes. Prior to entering into public question time, I would just like to make the following announcement, because this may, I think this will be quite informative and may reduce the number of questions needed to be asked. The Wheatbelt Development Assessment Panel meeting has been confirmed as Monday the 14th of April and will be at 1 p.m. here at the York Town Hall. The DAP website and the Shire website will both publish the agendas, and this process is controlled by the Department of Planning Development Assessment Panel Secretariat, so that the timing of the meeting is not at the discretion of Council. Okay, moving on to the first written question from Mr. Keith Sheckerman. What provisions are in hand to rectify the misleading information supplied by CETA and quoted on page 5 of the RA? Heights finished landfill quoted at 327 AHD, current height 354 AHD as per map on page 6. Mr. Sheckerman, a response to that is that the information has been, or updated information or amended information has been supplied, and that's the information that's included in the RA report on page 6, isn't it, Jackie? On page 6. So Mr. Stock's team submitted updated information during the public submission process, and that's on page 6 of the RA report.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, Mr. Chairman, but if this figure is left in the way it is, it's not clear that this information comes directly from the CETA report, because there's no acknowledgement of this, and anyone reading this would presume that this is correct. In fact, it is 24 metres out.
I'll just confer with Jackie German, the planning manager, before I answer that, if you don't mind, Mr. Sheckerman. On consultation with the CEO, Mr. Hooper, and Jackie German, the planning manager, we're of the view that adding a footnote to clarify the situation would be the best way forward. So there'll be a footnote put in on page 5. On page 5, clarifying that the information has been updated and the accepted value is the amount that's quoted on page 6.
Pointing out that this information came from the CETA document and that the correct height is 354.
Yes, that'll be done. Because like both sets of information have come from Neil's team. Do we have any questions from the floor?
Jane Farrell, 4 Spencer's Brook, York Road, York. Through the chair, I would like to ask each of the council members individually if they have read all the documentation that Jackie German has put together and all the 211 submissions that were handed in regarding this matter before they vote on this.
Jane, I don't think that question's particularly appropriate because it's questioning the competency of council. I can assure you that councillors have read the documentation put in front of them. But I can say that that's the assurance that they have given me, and each councillor does swear to that when they take office.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Mr. Hill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was also going to query the plan included on page 6, which wasn't part of the original submission by the applicant. It is still not right. The construction height of the landfill is 355 on the construction drawings, but considering SITA's difficulty with levels in the past, I think that's probably close enough at this stage. My question is through the chair and to the Shire Planner, is the Shire Planner aware that the EPA and DOW referral responses are based on old information prior to the closure of the DER submission period? And is the Shire Planner aware that the irregularities in the applicant's data is under investigation by the EPA, the DOW and the DER? Thank you.
Yes, Jackie German is aware that the information is being reviewed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions from the floor? Will there be no further questions? I'm closing question time. Thank you. There be no applications for leave or petitions at today's meeting and no requirement to confirm the minutes. We'll move straight to item 8, which is the presiding member's announcement. I'd like to take the opportunity today to thank Jackie German, Manager of Planning, for a very thorough and detailed responsible authority report that she's put before Council today. It's an enormous amount of work that she's done, and I'm very grateful, as are my fellow councillors, for the efforts she put in and all for the extensive research she's done through instrumentalities across the nation. So she has done research not just in Western Australia but across the nation to make sure that Council is fully informed, and she has been very helpful in emailing out briefing notes to Council to advise us of the process. I'd also like to thank Mr. Neil Stock and his team. They have been very professional in their dealings with the Council, and Council is looking for economic development, and we have found that their presentation has been of a very professional nature, and their relationship with Council has been one of mutual respect and professionalism. I would also like to acknowledge the substantial amount of work that has been done by numerous volunteers in our community to research the application as well. And Council has appreciated that this has been done in a very professional, respectful and harmonious way. We met with many of you early or late last year, but early in the process, and requested that the debate be done on a factual basis, and we're very grateful for the manner in which that has been done, and a number of people have done an enormous amount of work Robin and Kay Davies, and Colin Cable, Colin's from the Talbot Landcare Group, and Keith Sheckerman and Dennis Hill from Avra. So on both sides of the debate, it's been a very professional approach, and I think that as a community we should be proud of that. And moving forward to other processes and other opportunities that happen in our community, we would encourage people to stay engaged with our council. As councillors, we expect and embrace our community. We are looking for a positive interaction in a calm, respectful and conciliatory manner. Looking for the best outcomes for our community. What we all aspire to is a progressive, harmonious community working together for common goals and progress for all. Thank you very much. Moving to item 9.1.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of order. Are you aware that nobody's got an agenda, so it'd be helpful if you read out what's going on, because nobody knows on this side.
Yeah, so what we haven't done because of the size of the document. Yes.
This is your only.
Yeah. So what Helen has produced, is the actual council item. So 9.1.1 is the document that you all have, which is a key document for today. No. Yeah. So 9.1.1 is the officer's report. Does everybody who'd like a copy of 9.1.1 have a copy of it? The officer's recommendation is that Council 1 receive the responsible authority report for the proposed Allawuna landfill at lots 4869, 5931, 9926 and 26932, in brackets 2948, Great Southern Highway, St Ronan's. 2, authorise the submission of the responsible authority report for the proposed Allawuna landfill at lots as so listed, Great Southern Highway, St Ronan's, to the Development Assessment Panel Secretariat. And 3, endorse the officer's recommendation to refuse the development application for the proposed landfill at lots 4869, 5931, 9926 and 26932 of Great Southern Highway, St Ronan's. Can I have a council member move that, please? Move, Councillor Smythe. I have a seconder for that motion, please. Councillor Boyle. Councillor Smythe, did you want to speak to the motion?
I also would like to congratulate Jackie on a great report. I think she's done an excellent job, and I have read it. It took me a couple of days, I can tell you, because it's a very thorough report, and I think that Jackie has done an excellent job, and I'm pleased that she has made the recommendation to refuse the application because it does not fit within our planning. Thank you.
Yep. Would anybody else like to speak to the motion, please? Councillor Boyle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackie has left no stone unturned here, and neither have the people in our audience. and it's to their credit that they have been persisting to come to this officer recommendation to be put before them. All along, I have, just let me clarify, I'm the the economic development officer for this council. So I'm out there to create business. And this one I looked long and hard at, but all along I kept coming back to a thing called the precautionary principle that is found in Australian environmental law. And that says, if there is any doubt whatsoever of the movement of underground water or surface water or any environmental contamination to any water supply, then you have to vote it down. Now that is written in precautionary principle under Australian environmental law. Now that has been with me all along since this started, right from the very outset. And so I'm using that. I keep coming back to it, and I've looked at all the submissions, and as much as I want to have economic development happening in this town, I can't see any gain for the town of York to be taking all the refuse from elsewhere, in particular the metropolitan area, just to dump it on our doorstep. So I am going to support this officer recommendation.
Councillor Hooper would like to speak as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to read my notes because it's taken me a while to put them together. First of all, I will acknowledge the town planner. The work she has done is outstanding. I wish to make the following statement in relation to the ongoing issue relating to the CETA application that we are dealing with today. My reasons for making this statement are to set the record right publicly about the abuse, bullying and inferences that have been made about my knowledge and meeting of officials from CETA. The first meeting that any council has had with CETA was on Monday the 23rd of April 2012. And I was in fact in York in the UK. I was meeting with the Lord Mayor and the Sheriff the next day, conveying our council's best wishes to them. Some people who have criticised me will remember, if they actually looked at their local newspaper, there was a photo of myself and my wife with the photo of the painting of Merle Narkle Goodwin. The first meeting I ever had with CETA was on Wednesday the 29th of August 2012, a meeting I had discussed with the meeting of the then Bugatti Coffee Club. So it was obvious that I wasn't hiding the meeting, given that the group's reputation for ensuring information went up and down Aventuras. The meeting was a simple information session. My next CETA experience was a public meeting held on the 19th of November 2012. However, on the previous Saturday, I was verbally and physically challenged outside the post office by one of the then opponents of the proposal with threats involving my removal from council and the publishing of my photo all over town. I will acknowledge that that person has since been discouraged by the opposition, by the opponents of the CETA proposal. I'm sure Mr and Mrs O'Hara, with whom I had a quiet, pleasant discussion with, will remember that I clearly stated it was not my place to take a position on the then unpresented application, but allow the process to run, and then as a councillor I should adopt my vote according to the oath I took to serve the community. I did not go on the bus trip to CETA conducted on the 29th of 2012. I did a site inspection with other councillors on the 23rd of January 2014. The only other meeting with CETA, other than council or public meetings I have participated in, was on the 31st of October 2013. However, I have been accused by a newsletter of attending secret meetings. It was inferred that I, along with other councillors, had done a deal with CETA, inferred that we were in receipt of bribes, but not one person actually spoke to me or contacted me in respect to these allegations. Did the author of the newspaper bother to contact me and simply ask? Again, the answer is no. I've had emails with tones of threat to my future as a council, suggesting that I was selling out the community. Have any of those people present been subject to the signs, letters, usually unidentified, cartoons, if you can call them that, all totally unsupported by evidence about my behaviour or actions? I have not come out in support of refusing the application because, until I actually had an application to view, I was not going to put to jeopardy the finances of our council by jumping the gun as a neighbouring council did. Would anyone have approved of the councillors pursuing a line of action that could have cost the community over $100,000? On accepting the role of councillor, I took an oath I would uphold the views of the community. Today I am doing that. To those of the very vocal minority who do not represent the majority of fair-minded people in the community, I will continue to oppose you, but I will suppose those like the majority of people opposing the CETA application, as is my role. I am supporting the report recommendation 9.1.1.
Okay, so I'll call a vote, please. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Yep. Okay. The vote's unanimous, so there's no call for against. I'd like to thank everybody on behalf of all councillors for that applause, and hope that it will build your confidence in us as councillors. As Councillor Hooper put in his very heartfelt speech, is that council does have the community's best interests at heart, and we work within a legal framework. And that legal framework is to ensure that the applicant has the right to apply, and our role as council is to, with the support staff of the support of the administration, make well thought out, balanced, fair decisions. And it's not an easy role. So I hope and believe that this, or genuinely believe that this is a significant step forward for our community, not the decision itself, but the process that we've been through. There's been a robust public debate. It has been carried out very professionally, and there's been a lot of collaboration within our community and a sharing of information. And I guess council believes that we've made a well thought out decision today with your assistance and obviously the guidance of our wonderful administration staff. So thank you all for attending, and I'm going to close the meeting. Oh, beg your pardon? No, I'm not.
I'd like to move a motion from the floor, please, if I may.
You may. I'll just get you a microphone. So Councillor Smythe is going to move a motion from the floor, as councillors are permitted to do.
I would like to move a motion.
We can't hear you. Oh, you have to hold it right up.
I would like to move a motion that the CEO immediately engage Steve Elledering as the representative advocate to the DAP hearing on the 14th of April 2014. The Shire of York has allocated $5,000 to have a representative advocate at the DAP meeting, and I'm under the understanding that it would cost under that. We have a limit of $5,000, and I'm sure that we could make sure that that was not expended anymore.
Okay, so could we have a seconder for that motion, please? It's seconded by Councillor Boyle.
I'd like to speak to the motion.
Please do.
I have some key points here regarding the need for an advocate. We need to present at the DAP hearing, at the DAP hearing will be 3 independent members and 2 council representatives and the applicant, CETA. CETA will have an opportunity to question or rebut arguments. CETA will have an experienced planner or advocate to speak on their behalf. It states clearly in the DAP procedural notes that an independent consultant planner is the preferred option to represent council at the DAP hearing. The Shire of York, to be successful, needs a highly skilled independent planner advocate to represent the Responsible Authority report and argue its merits and defend against rebuttal arguments by the applicant. Expert knowledge is required for this. The Shire of York advocate needs to be accepted by the DAP as an authority on planning, local government, DAP and tribunal matters. The Shire of York advocate needs to respond to questions from DAP and CETA's representatives in a knowledgeable and authoritative manner. Considering the strong stance taken in the Responsible Authority report, no effort should be spared ensuring that it's upheld at the DAP hearing. The Shire of York advocate should also be suitably qualified to follow through with a strong performance in the tribunal as a witness for the DAP should it be required. Steve Allawuna is the best qualified to represent the council at the DAP. He is recommended by Neil Foley, a former senior executive at the West Australian Planning Commission. He is the former chairman of the South West Metropolitan DAP and a current member of the Waste Management Authority. He has been successful at numerous DAP and tribunal hearings. He is highly regarded by other consultancies in related fields, and the cost is minimal considering the long-term damage to the Shire of York and the Avon Valley.
Thank you, Councillor Smythe.
Through the chair.
Councillor Boyle, yes, please.
I seconded that motion, ladies and gentlemen. We had a forward or strategic planning meeting a few months ago now at Cervantes, and we thrashed this around the table for quite some time, and we decided this would be the best way to go. It's always good to be able to buy the brains, is my view. Now, not taking anything away from our DAP panel, which will be President Reid and Deputy President de Peruzal. They are very capable, but why not give them some professional help to make their job easier, bearing in mind that there are 3 others on the panel to 2 of us, or 2 Yorkies. So this would just, I believe, balance it a little more. So I have no hesitation in seconding the motion, especially the credentials that have just been read out from this advocate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. Can I call for a show of hands for all those in favour of appointing? Oh, excuse me, just be one moment.
Just want to clarify the wording of the motion. The council engage, the words we use, the CEO engage. It's a council duty to engage, not the CEO.
Yep, so the wording of the motion is now that council engage Steve Allawuna to make a presentation to DAP Is that on council's behalf?
I'd like to move a motion that the Shire of York immediately engage Steve Allawuna as a representative advocate to the DAP hearing on the 14th of April 2014.
Okay. So but we need to amend that to council to engage.
I would like to move a motion that the council immediately engage.
Yep. So you could hand that in writing to Helen at the end of the meeting as well, but I believe we have it correct. So can I have a show of hands, all those in favour of appointing Mr. Allardyce? Allardyce? So that's 6 now. It's a unanimous decision. There being no further business, I'd like to declare the meeting closed at 4:41 p.m. Thank you all for attending.
Mr. Chairman, could I just...
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to congratulate the council on their decision, and especially... Oh, yes, sure.
I'd like to congratulate the council on their decision. I also would like to draw the attention to the council the fact that in 3 months' time, in theory, in 3 months' time, next week, we could be back at the same point we were 18 months ago. And I'd like council to make a serious consideration of a change to the town plan, where the dumping of metropolitan rubbish within the Shire would be a prohibited use. And so if an intended dumper would have a plan of doing so, he needs to rezone. And it would be a far neater process than the traumatic experience this whole community has gone through in the last 18 months. And so I wonder if you could make a note and at the next planning meeting, I don't know if you have committee meetings or the next council meeting, discuss the issue to see how it could be done. Because in the CETA documentation, it clearly states that one of the reasons I came to York was because there was a good chance that it came through here. All the other councils have a prohibited use of dumping metro rubbish. York does not. Thank you.
On that note, Jackie German, the planning manager, will be reviewing our planning strategy in the months ahead. So we are hoping for a high level of engagement in that process. So please, if you're not already on Jackie's email list, if you could provide them if you'd like to be part of that process where we'll be reviewing the planning strategy for the Shire. And to get the best possible outcome to represent or to reflect the community's aspirations, we need community engagement. And so many times in the past, that engagement has been very, very limited, where only a handful of people turn up at public meetings to discuss such significant documents. So please stay engaged, and then we'll get a more productive and positive outcome in everything we do. So thank you all. I would remind you that this is not the end of the application process, it's a step along it. So the RA report or Responsible Authority report now goes to the Wheatbelt Development Assessment Panel to be assessed. And their decision is the final decision, so I just make you aware of that. And Kay Davies.
Has just said, I'm wondering if the Shire would re-examine what they put through with the town planner scheme and the Omnibus 50. if they could consider altering the proposals that were put through, especially with the management of waste and landfills in general agricultural zones, and to use a not allowed, especially in the light of what's going on and the community feeling about it all. Would the Shire, would the councillors be willing to look at those before they are accepted by John Day?
We have been advised today that Amendment 50 is with the Minister for final decision. We received a letter today saying it's with him as we speak, but he's leaving his findings until after the Wheatbelt DAP.
I understand that. I've had a letter to say that, but what I'm asking is, can the councillors now see that what was written there is not what the community wants for our town, and re-look at what they've got in there, because what has been placed in there is not suitable, and you will go through this process again if we do not look at it and change it.
But we'd have a motion for that, wouldn't we? Enough close to me. Yeah, well, it'll certainly be considered. We would need to have it's a shame you didn't ask it at public question time. So I've closed the meeting.
It's because you said it was only about this that I decided, not to say it.
Yes. Look, it'll be considered at future council meetings. There would need to be a motion put through council.
So ask that question again? Yeah. At the next one.
If that's what you'd like us to do, then that's the best process. Or you could write or email to either myself or to Jackie German in planning. Maybe should have two. What's the question time after? All right, just one last question, Colin, out of respect to you and the work that you've done, but I think we all want to go home. But yes, please ask.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Shire for that decision, because that justifies 10 years of revegetation progress in the upper reaches of the catchment. And our association, myself, have applied for a lot of funding through the government departments to achieve that goal. And now the upper reaches are in fairly pristine condition. So I hate to see a landfill from the other end, which is completely contrary to our objective. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.